Was a streamer so anxious for money and fame that he killed his girlfriend in front of the entire world? When Valia fell in love with her alleged boyfriend Staz Rifle, she thought it was the start of a fresh and comfortable life. Unfortunately, he did not return her feelings, and all of this resulted in her death for a mere $1,000. But who is Staz Rifle? Who is Valia? What kind of weird online phenomenon helped him establish an audience in the first place? How has this story impacted Russia's internet landscape? Stanislav Reshetnikov, better known online as Staz Rifle, is a Russian YouTuber and live streamer. He usually posts videos of himself playing video games or visiting internet casinos, but he's also a member of the phenomenon known as trash streaming, a streaming subculture in which viewers pay the broadcaster to engage in particular activities. Staz was streaming on December 2nd, 2020 with his friend Marina and girlfriend Valentina, who was presumably pregnant at the time. They appeared to have been eating, drinking heavily, and listening to music for the most of the live stream. A viewer pays Staz $1,000 to beat Valentina and lock her outside around 2.5 hours into the stream. After an argument between Valentina and Staz, she takes out a knife and threatens him with it. She waves the knife once more before collapsing to the ground as he forces her into her chair. After this altercation, Staz allegedly poured cold water on Valentina, stripped her down to her underwear, and left her outside in the bitter cold. She reached for a jacket, but he grabbed it away from her, telling her that the cold would sober her up. That evening, the temperature ranged from -3 to -8 degrees Celsius, or 17 to 26 degrees Fahrenheit. Knowing the weather well, Staz even instructed Marina to close the window to prevent them from freezing early in the stream. Valentina had problems with her bowels, Staz also revealed to the audience, and she had to stay outside since she stank. He kept streaming as she could be heard repeatedly pounding on the door. Eventually, Staz discovered her unconscious and fallen on the ground as he went outside to let her back in. He pulled her limp body to the doorway, where the stream could barely be seen. I hear him ask, "Valia, are you still with us? What's up with you, my bunny? Oh my God, Valia, you appear to be dead. Come on, bunny, tell me something. I need to know. I can't feel her heartbeat, darn it. Guys, she's pallid, no pulse. Her respiration has stopped. I adore you, Valia. Please wake up." Additionally, he makes a feeble attempt to revive her. Eventually, he moves back to the chair and calls an ambulance, picking up her body and carrying her to the couch. He brings the camera closer to her face while he waits for them to come. Then he resumes playing music and consuming booze. When the police finally showed up, Valentina was declared deceased. Despite being requested to stop many times, Staz keeps up the live feed for 45 minutes. At this time, he has almost 1,500 watchers, and people are urging him to keep up the live stream by sending him cash. After discovering her body, he takes nearly 2 hours to switch it off. This live stream's footage was removed from YouTube after a day of availability. He told reporters that he didn't do anything wrong and that he felt regret for her death at first, all while sobbing. He also stated that her death was actually the result of a drug overdose. The live stream footage, of course, demonstrates that this was untrue. At first, hypothermia was thought to be the cause of Valentina's death. Later accounts, however, indicate that closed craniocerebral damage from repeated head trauma was indeed the official cause of death. Staz faces up to 15 years in jail after being accused with intentionally causing serious bodily harm that results in death. Despite acknowledging that he beat Valentina, he stated that he is certain he will be found not guilty while being held in a pretrial detention facility. This was not an isolated incident, despite the claims of certain news outlets that it was a joke gone awry. Staz has a lengthy history of abusing money and the opinions of his cruel fan base by causing suffering and humiliation to a number of people, including Valentina. One viewer paid for Staz to pepper spray Valentina during a live stream. She was screaming in terror as she lay on the couch, looking like she was having a panic attack. Staz doesn't try to console her. Instead, he sprays her in the face, sits back in his chair, and screams as if nothing had happened, even while she cries in pain. I'll play a censored version of the video now, but be advised that it's really challenging to watch. A woman assaulted Valentina in another stream and then covered her with food. Staz was furious. With spectators in the room and watchers on the stream laughing, he threw the woman to the ground and beat her, fracturing her nose. Additionally, Stas was a big abuser of a man named Valentina, who, based on some internet sites, is homeless, an alcoholic, and maybe mentally ill. According to reports, Stas enticed Valentina to his flat in 2019 with promises of alcohol, a place to stay, and a fun time. Stas was rather pleasant at first, but soon changed his ways, bullying and torturing him in order to get money. Only a very little portion of the money raised on these streams went to Valentina. The abuse began with what Stas referred to as baptisms, in which viewers paid him to splash ice water on Valentina when the latter was dozing off or not paying attention. In addition, Stas would accept donations in exchange for cracking eggs on Valentina's gullible head. During broadcasts, Stas would frequently resist getting up from his computer to go to the restroom, so he would urinate into a cup. He attempted to extort his audience to pay him to pour it on Valentina, but to no avail. But what they really wanted was for Stas to force Valentina to drink it, and he did just that numerous times, either by forcing him or by feigning that it was beer. Streamers handed Valentina around so they might all profit from his pain. He was reportedly well known in the garbage streamer community for entering people houses on his own initiative and accepting insults. He allegedly even told a police officer that the individuals torturing him were his pals at one point. Remember that Valentina was on the streets and that these streamers were providing him with food, wine, and lodging. This probably explains why he endured the torture for such a long time and was considered a willing participant. Valentina soon said that he didn't want to participate in the bullying, though, after growing weary of it. Stas took his passport and threw his phone out the window as he attempted to exit the flat and call his pals for assistance. It broke into pieces after falling 14 stories. Stas and his friends continued to abuse and harass Valentina as he was being held captive in the flat in exchange for live stream donations. Videos of Valentina being beaten, slapped, and ridiculed during this period abound. Before making his getaway, Valentina allegedly lived in the apartment for 6 months while Stas was having sex with a prostitute. But even after crying and pleading to be released on stream, he comes back to be mistreated. He might merely need a place to stay and to keep getting the little money he was given for being the victim of these streamers. Or he might be suffering from a case of Stockholm Syndrome. As if all of this wasn't enough, Stas allegedly insulted and abused a crippled man in order to get viewers to pay him money. He can be seen laughing in one video while the man gets struck across the face. To Stas and his audience's pleasure, the same man gets attacked on multiple different live streams, frequently receiving a violent slap. In addition, he is made to swallow multiple liters of oil at a donor's request. He gets really sick as a result, and paramedics are brought in to handle the problem. The entire thing is live streamed so that Stas can profit as much as possible from his suffering. Even more, a spectator paid Stas money to have their name tattooed on the crippled man. Now, he has a permanent brand. Not only did the other individuals in the room support Stas's acts of sadism and cruelty against these people, but a huge number of his viewers even went so far as to pay him substantial sums of money for these crimes. I haven't even included all of the scary videos from his feeds in this one. Furthermore, Stas isn't the only live streamer engaging in this activity. He's just one of several garbage streamers who take money from viewers in exchange for making fun of or mistreating others. Andre Buriam, often known as Melstroy, is one of the most well-known garbage streamers. In his early streams, Melstroy would go out on chat roulette, approach girls, and offer them the chance to strip for him in exchange for more likes and followers on social media. When he posted videos of several young girls nude on his streams in 2017, the police became interested. However, these allegations were later withdrawn. He has beaten ladies, poured pee on someone, and given individuals money to fight each other, in addition to continuing these stripping streams for a number of years. In return for these deeds, he received donations totaling thousands of dollars. Melstroy was live streaming a gathering of people at what looked to be a party in October of 2020. Alina, a 21-year-old model, is seated next to him. She allegedly joked about his body at one point. Melstroy responded by grabbing her by the neck and repeatedly slamming her face into the table. This resulted in multiple ailments for Alina, including bruising, a concussion, and a closed craniocerebral lesion. She invited anyone else who had suffered at his hands to get in touch with her and join a class action lawsuit in an Instagram post that featured her swollen face and bloodied mouth. His Twitch and YouTube accounts were permanently banned after this, but I haven't been able to locate any information on how this case is progressing as of now. Before this, he had over 680,000 subscribers who took great pleasure in seeing his visitors suffer on his feeds. There are a ton of other garbage streamers out there that will commit violent or dehumanizing acts for cash. Andre Yashim is among them. He struck his mother with a champagne bottle. They appear to still be streaming together because she declined to press charges and insisted that she was a voluntary participant throughout. I believe I've provided enough proof to demonstrate how deeply troubling the garbage streamer subculture is, and how it points to larger problems in society. Russia's extraordinarily lenient rules regarding domestic abuse are perhaps the reason it has grown so well liked there. In July 2016, non-aggravated battery was decriminalized in Russia and reduced to an administrative infraction, carrying a fine or jail time. But the criminal code nevertheless made repeated violence and battery against close relatives illegal. In February 2017, Russia made yet another amendment to the criminal code, removing the section on attacking close relatives from the non-aggravated battery article. Violence against family members has thus also been designated as an administrative violation. In case you're curious, aggravated battery includes using a weapon to strike someone, shooting someone with a gun, battery causing temporary or permanent disfigurement, and battery of a member of a protected class, such as a social worker or nurse. Anything outside of this is usually regarded as non-aggravated battery in the event that there are no significant injuries. In Russia, the penalty for non-aggravated battery is currently between $88 and $526 USD, along with administrative detention for 10 to 15 days or 60 to 100 hours of work-related labor. Nonetheless, the Russian criminal law might have changed as a result of the fury surrounding Valentina's passing. Numerous Russians have reported to the authorities that they always report these broadcasts on the streamers, but the victims have not yet received any justice. As of the now, the Russian criminal law only has a few provisions that touch on the subject and doesn't expressly forbid the behavior of these trash streamers. Articles 115 and 116, for instance, deal with purposeful infliction of minor harm to health and beating, respectively. However, they don't address offenses committed in public while using the internet. Furthermore, Section 2 of Article 282 of the Criminal Code lays out the penalties for degrading another person's dignity through the use of violence or the threat of violence, which includes using the internet. This is only applicable, though, in situations when xenophobic rather than hooligan motives, which include people releasing so-called trash streams, were the driving force behind the crime. Politicians have proposed amending Article 282 to include a section on the public humiliation of human dignity through the use of violence or the threat of violence as of December 16, 2020. This would prohibit the use of the internet for hooligan purposes. For this offense, the penalty is 3 to 6 years in prison, 2 to 5 years of forced labor, or a fine of roughly $4,000 to $8,000. In order to change the law to forbid live transmissions that contain abuse, harassment, or humiliation, the Federation Council will convene in January. Let's hope the bill passes. Although trash streaming isn't very common outside of Russia, it doesn't mean that other countries don't have comparable views. Just consider sites like LevLeak and Rotten.com, the subreddit r/WatchPeopleDie, or the ruined 4chan threads. It's evident that a large number of individuals worldwide have become insensitive to images of bloodshed and death, to the point where they actively seek out these films and make light of the victims. I understand that this isn't the same as the people who support these trash streamers financially so they can keep abusing or humiliating their victims, but it still seems to me that there is a general disregard for human life on the internet. In this instance, supporters kept donating even after Valentina's passing was live-streamed, accusing Stas of being at fault, disparaging Valentina, and making nasty jokes about the event. Despite witnessing innumerable videos of Stas intimidating, attacking, and dehumanizing a great number of individuals, it appears that not even witnessing a real-life murder moved them to take action. We appreciate you watching the entire video. I'm aware that I included a lot of graphic material, but I wanted to emphasize how serious the abuse and shame associated with garbage streaming is. Hopefully, after this tragedy, streaming services will take this as a lesson and work hard to outright forbid any offensive content. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you all in the next video and appreciate any questions or comments you may have on this subject.